Everyone, I'm Nicole, bringing you guys health, wellness, and design tips. Today I'm going to talk to you about intermittent fasting, specifically the 36 hours routine where you fast for 36 hours. And that means like no food, whatever. And I did that for 6 months. And it was my first time doing intermittent fasting. So I'm here to talk to you about the pros and the cons. Around to the end, I'll tell you whether I recommend the 36-hour fast. I want to mention I am not a certified nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. So please take this advice at your own discretion. And if you are planning to do intermittent fasting, consult a doctor beforehand. I really recommend it. So to start out, why I started intermittent fasting? I started in 2023, like the beginning of 2023, and I started because there was just so much hype around it, and I was really curious about it. I've always been interested in like health and wellness, so naturally it was something that struck my interest. And I just kind of wanted to see if I could do it and if I was capable of it, and wanted to see if I could push my limits a little bit, and also just wanted to lose a little bit of weight. At the time, I was 130 pounds, and by the end, I ended up losing 5 or 6 pounds. So not like a whole lot, but for someone who wasn't like big in the beginning, that's quite a bit. I did not gain weight after stopping 36 intermittent fasting. I just consistently stayed the same, or I actually lost more weight after that. And then I also wanted to do intermittent fasting because people talked about all these benefits of it: lower blood pressure, other things like less chance of diabetes, and also like a higher mental awareness, so like a heightened sense of focus. So that really interested me. And I chose the 36-hour routine because I would finish supper around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and then I would just skip the whole day. So I didn't see the point in having dinner again the next day. I kind of want to just do the whole day. That way I would just not think about it for the day and not have to, be tempted to eat that day. I would just know, okay, that whole day I'm not eating anything, so whatever. It just would seem like an easier option. So first off, we'll start with the pros. First pro is a little bit less obvious, but you actually save money. So you're not spending any money on food. You might maybe eat out a lot, and now you're not, so you're not buying groceries for that day. So you can save anywhere from $80 to $200 a month, just by skipping one day a week. You just eat 6 days a week. Pro number two, I definitely feel like not eating released a lot of mental capacity for me. So like I didn't have to think about planning meals, what I was going to eat, running around, things like that. So actually did really relieve a lot of mental space in my mind, which was really interesting. I did not expect that, and I just feel like it helped free up my attention to other things. So that was really cool benefit. Number three, I feel that it reset my baseline. My everyone has like a weight baseline, and your body tries to stick with the baseline. So you lose weight and your body's like fighting to get back to that baseline. So I feel like intermittent fasting, at least for the 36 hours, changed my baseline. So that's huge. And so with that being said, I do feel that it shrunk my stomach. So it works. It does work. I feel like it reset my baseline. It shrunk my stomach, so I feel like I don't need to eat as much the rest of the week. I would just say like our culture is so obsessed with food. Everything is around food. We schedule our whole lives around food, which is not bad, but skipping a whole day of not eating, not worrying about food was almost like liberating in some way. Was like, hey, like we're not controlled by our food, like there's more to life than just eating. You walk down the street, you see the big McDonald's sign, you see these big huge photoshopped hamburgers all the time, and all these specials and fast food restaurants and things, and it's just like our culture is consumed with food. So for me, that was an interesting perspective, was to not feel controlled, by this culture of eating and when we're going to eat next, and like that culture of just when's the next meal and things like that, like craving like food, I guess. So I think that was a benefit. It was a benefit and an interesting perspective that I gained, an interesting experience for me. Those are the pros to the 36 hours intermittent fasting. Now we're going to get into the cons. And there is a long list of cons. So stick with me. The pros aren't great, but wait till you hear the cons. Con number one, mood. My mood was terrible on the days that I would fast, and even the day after, I was irritable. I was tired. I was unfocused. I was focused in the sense that I was focused on work, but I was distracted. I would have a coffee and I would have no food in my stomach. So like I'm like kind of like ADD, looking around. Like it just was difficult to focus because you're I would have the jitters, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, so my mood was like absolutely so irritable. I was cranky. I would snap at people. Really, really was not in a good mood. Number two, I had trouble sleeping that night, those nights. So the days that I would intermittent fast, your stomach starting to growl, and the days that I would fast, it would be difficult to sleep. So I might lay in my bed for a good hour before I would fall asleep. And so that's not great. If you're on a very strict sleep schedule for work, whatever, just know that it can affect your sleep. Number three, I had headaches. Yeah, I don't know. I did the intermittent fasting for 6 months. And so you'd think that over that time frame I would have overcome these symptoms, but I didn't. Um, and I think a lot of that reason was because I was already a low weight. So my body just couldn't handle it very well. And so I had headaches, and on top of that I was quite faint and dizzy. So it wasn't like a terrible dizziness, but there was a light dizziness. Okay, con number 4. Scheduling activities was difficult. So like the days that I was fasting, I couldn't really schedule, social events really, because like usually social events have food. I don't really drink anyway, but so like I don't drink alcohol really, so that's not an issue for me. But it was an issue to have like go to events where there might be food. So that was kind of like not part of my that day that I would fast. And on top of it, I was taking online courses, Spanish courses at the time, and those days I couldn't focus. So I would have these Spanish lessons and I would just be like unfocused because I would be so hungry. So again, I would not schedule classes around that time. Another con is that I was at risk of binge eating the next day. So as the day went on, my mind would think more and more and more about food, and I would just be thinking of what meals I would want to have the next day. And like 9 times out of 10, the next day I would eat something really bad. I can't recall exactly what I ate, but it could be like hamburgers, fries, things like that. Like just food that's not really great for you. So my body would really crave these things, and the next day, yeah, I would just binge eat on unhealthy food, which is not ideal at all. So with that being said, these are all the pros and the cons. Now we'll talk about whether I recommend it. So I would say that I do not recommend the 36-hour fast. I'm now doing the 16-hour, so that's like where you finish your dinner around 7, and then you don't eat again for 16 hours. So that would be, I guess, 11 a.m. So you basically skip breakfast, or you eat around 12 p.m. So you skip breakfast. So it's a 16-hour fast. And I finding that way more manageable. But do I think it works? Yes, I think it works. The 36-hour fast does work. The 24, I think it works much more than the 16-hour fast for sure. So if you're looking for like very, very accelerated weight loss, then yeah, the 36 hours is definitely it. I think for someone who has a higher weight then I think that the 36 fast would not affect you as negatively as it did me. But again, I do think that the 36-hour fast has so many cons to it. It's not like it's not like really something I would recommend the average person do. So that's basically it for the intermittent fasting 36 hours. And I maybe come up with another video for the 16 hours to see my progress. And yeah, I hope this was helpful and educational for you guys and to help you make a decision on which intermittent fasting cycle you're interested in doing. And please like and subscribe.